J-Spot Jack Cheese, Cat Pack Comics, MCU movie review week 15. 15! We're almost there. And it's cheating a little bit, but, we're almost there. I finally ran out of animals. So, I'm bringing back my goats. It's Garth and Bernard. Let's see. Double movie review week again. And first up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You know what? I liked it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I enjoyed this as much as, well, I wouldn't say as much as people seem to enjoy the first one, because a lot of people seem to think that the first one is, like, the best Marvel movie, or, like, best superhero movie, like, ever. And I don't think that, but I thought it was pretty damn good. I like the addition of Kurt Russell. I think he works good as a father to Chris Pratt. All the characters seem much more characterized. They seem more humanized, or their respective alienized. I don't know. There seems like to be so much more to root for, especially with Peter, with all of his dad issues, and it's the plot of the movie. You know what I'm talking about. All the other characters seem more palatable. Groot is Baby Groot now, and they make him all cutesy and stuff. But like, other than that opening scene, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, I guess I'm a sucker for when movies avoid the big fight scenes, because another movie that I fucking love that got a lot of hate for this is Godzilla from 2014. I love the whole like build up and then avoiding the fight thing. So the fact that they do that at the beginning of this, I was like, yeah, okay, I dig that. Like, even though it was Baby Groot dancing again. Oh, remember when he did that at the end of the first one? I still thought it was like a cool idea. And then they do that a lot in the movie. Like they kind of avoid the last fight. Not when it's just Peter and Ego like one-on-one, but when it's them versus all the gold people, fucking whatever. You kind of like miss a lot of that fight too in like a similar way. Not that that's like, I'm not saying that's like, oh, every fight should be that way, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so Groot didn't seem so like pervasive in this movie. Not pervasive. Pervasive? Is that the right word, Brian? You're like 3 months old. Groot didn't seem as intrusive into the movie in this. So like, he's much better in like little bits like peppered throughout like he is in this one. I liked him a lot more in this. Rocket is probably my favorite overall in this movie. I wasn't really like totally expecting it, but I like that they touched on his whole like his like haunted past type thing more in this. I was so happy that they ended the movie on him, that like I knew where the whole, like, oh, you're trying to drive everybody away, and, like, I knew that it was like, oh, yeah, because he hates himself and stuff, but I like that there was some sort of, like, wrap-up to that, or at least they kind of, like, talked about it a little bit, and that whole, like, exchange, the wrap-up of the movie was nice for, Star-Lord's like, oh, of course we're not going to leave you, and then ending with the shot on him, I was like, oh, that's so cool, that's so cool. A few issues I have with it, though, are, like, there seemed to be comedy where maybe there shouldn't have been. Like, when he's fighting Ego at the end of the movie and he turns into Pac-Man, like, I get that he was, like, earlier in the movie, he's like, oh, I can come up with anything? Oh, I could be Pac-Man if I wanted? Like, I got the callback, I understand it. But it felt out of place there. He was just like, oh, you killed my mom and you broke my Walkman. Which, that was another thing where I was like, I think just like not really caring that much about the first movie, I was like, I didn't realize until he said that line, not when he actually smashed it, but when he said that line, I was like, oh yeah, that was like really important to him. That Walkman was like a really important thing. Whoops. But anyways, like, it's weird him going from like that, like, I'm gonna kill you because you killed my mom, and then into, I'm Pac-Man, ha 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 ha. And alternatively, there was one moment where I'm pretty sure it was being sincere, but because of all the like how humorous the movie was in other serious moments, and I was like, is this a joke? But where he like conjures the ball of light and they play catch, and I'm like, oh, he's playing catch with his dad, but this is like kind of weird and not. If they were going for sincere, it didn't really land with me. It was just kind of like, I don't know. I was weirded out by it because I didn't know what they were trying to do with it, and it just seemed really silly. I don't. I guess because it's Guardians, you gotta address the soundtrack, and same. I like the soundtrack a lot more. I like the opening song in the first one, and then Hooked on a Feeling is fine, I guess. But that's kind of it. There's not a lot of good songs in the first one. They're all just like typical 70s, 80s rock pop hits. Like, it's nothing super eclectic. This one isn't super eclectic either. It's like maybe a titch more, but not that. But I totally dug both. I think they use it twice. I was so into both scenes where they use the chain. I really like that song. I like Fleetwood Mac, so I really like that song. And where they use that in the movie both times was pretty awesome. I missed it when it played, but they had My Sweet Lord by George Harrison, and any George Harrison love, I can't be mad at that, you know. Anytime George Harrison gets some love and respect, that's cool with me. Man, after watching it, it kind of frustrated me more with the whole, why does everybody love the first one and I don't? And this one was like, everybody's like, oh yeah, it was good, but, you know, not as good as the first one, no way. Like, no, it's way better than the first one in my opinion. Like I said, I don't think I'll ever watch the first one again. I would definitely watch this one again. Maybe it's the first, you know, like I said, this is the only one of these that I have not previously seen. This is my first time watching it. So there could be some of that, but I mean, I didn't really like the first one the first time I saw it either. So I'm willing to, like, maybe if I watch it again, the shine will have faded a little bit, but I liked it so much more. Why didn't people like this one as much? Everything with his dad, I thought they got like kind of deep with it without getting too deep for a comic book movie. Him and Yondu's relationship, although that was a little weird because maybe I'm forgetting stuff from the first one because I don't, you know, remember a ton, but like, wasn't he like straight up trying to like kill him and arrest him? I get that like they're like pirates pretty much, and they've kind of had not the most stable relationship, but like he was literally trying to like kill him in the first one. So I don't know. A little of that was like weird when they're like, "Yeah, you're my boy," and it's like, is he your boy? He's your boy today. He's your boy right now, but maybe like a few days ago or like in the last movie, was he still your boy? And just the fact that it wasn't just a fucking typical, like, God, the first movie had such a boring villain and plot, like, ugh. This one's like, at least this one's different. It's not just like he's a straight up evil dude and like they gotta fight, like, he seems good for most of it, and then there's like a little bit of a twist, and you kind of, at least I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. I kind of figured it wasn't gonna be all hunky-dory the whole time, especially knowing that Ego is a bad guy in comics. But I wouldn't have been surprised if they had changed that, but, you know, throughout the movie, you can kind of tell that it's not going well, especially when they get to the planet and all that. But it seems so much more like the good space stuff, the, like, Star Wars or Star Trek. It seems so much more like that. You got to see, like, a lot more different planets, when it seemed like there was only, like, a handful in the first one. And I get that that's establishing the universe, but you can do that and still be cool, and you can establish a universe and still have unique different worlds like Star Wars. The first one, just all the planets just blend together to me. There's no real standouts, and like this, there's a lot more standouty scenes. You got the Golden People City planet. There's Ego's planet. There's even the one that they crash land on too. I don't know, other ones too. I'm not gonna list everything, but there's other places. I feel like there's more to say just because of how much has changed, in my opinion, from Volume 1 to Volume 2. I'm looking forward to this third one. Guardians 2 is the first one I didn't see in theaters because of the first movie, but I'll go see the third one in theaters for sure. Especially if you get more, rocket development. I love that stuff. I eat that stuff up. I feel like I have to give it to Rocket just because while I love plucky comic relief guys, I feel like I always have to go with like the ones with more heart and stuff, and I think that's why Rocket gets my vote. But Drax is pretty fucking great in this one too. He's just like pretty much delegated to they went like full on like the comedy side for him, and that's fine because he Dave Bautista, like, surprisingly a great comic actor and a great dramatic. He was pretty decent in Blade Runner 2049, despite how little he was in it. Like, he's a pretty decent actor. Plenty I could probably come up with to say about it, but I do gotta keep these moving with the double reviews. I don't have a pet to shit on the floor this time to cut my time down. I need a good pet floor manager who's gonna be like, all right, Taylor, you're running up the clock. You need to cut it down. And then they just cut me off with their assholes. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is really good. Did not think I was going to say that. Movie 2 this week is Spider-Man Homecoming. Whoa. How do I go? Where do I go? The Spider-Man's back. Yeah. The beloved Tom Holland from Civil War is back as Spider-Man, as the same guy. Spider-Man Homecoming, or the unexpected virtue of having Michael Keaton play another iteration of the superhero he played in the 80s again. Because he's the best fucking part of this movie. Every goddamn time Michael Keaton plays Batman, he's the best goddamn part of the movie. Just that's what he should do, is he needs to do different iterations of Batman for the rest of his movie career, and it'll be great. Because, damn, he is so good in this movie. He fucking kills it. And I'm saying that in a movie that overall I think is alright, he brings so much to this movie. Like, but really, the voice he does when he is like, being the Vulture is Birdman. Like, he's doing Birdman. But I don't give a shit, because Birdman's a fucking great movie. You know what else is? Fucking Batman. Let's review those movies instead of fucking Spider-Man Homecoming. No, I liked Homecoming. Definitely more than the first time. It's just, and I realized when I was watching it, I was like really into it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And there wasn't like a part where it like really went south for me. I just realized that it doesn't stick with you a lot. I feel like I'm able to kind of distance myself from my heavy Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man bias. I really felt like it was the first time watching a different Spider-Man movie where I was able to distance myself from that. I enjoyed it a lot more than the first time. I think partly because of that. Still, it just, I don't know, something about it falls a little flat. Maybe it's because, yeah, they don't do, Uncle Ben gets shot and he's like, oh, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. They don't do that, but it hits a lot of the same beats that every other Spider-Man iteration has hit before. And it's like little things. It's not important, like big things to the story. But it's these little things that like don't have to be in them, but for some reason they work their way into every Spider-Man movie. Like, oh, here's the part where Spider-Man shows a feat of great strength, holding together the ferry. Oh, stopping a train. Oh, here's Peter stopping being Spider-Man for a little bit, and here's a montage of him doing schoolwork and being really good at it, because remember, he's smart. I know there was like one or two other ones that like really stuck out. I was like, they do this exact same thing in like the Sam Raimi ones and then the Mark Webb ones. I don't know, is that a knock? Is that like a con, or I don't know. It's not a pro though. It's not like I'm just trying to diagnose, like, maybe that's why I don't like love it, because it's just more of the same stuff. Like, you can do so much with Spider-Man, and he's my favorite comic book character, and you should be doing more with him. And they do. They take him out of New York. They do a lot of things that they haven't done in previous Spider-Man movies. I'm glad that they don't do the whole, laser into the sky bullshit. That's why I'm always like on the lookout for, like, oh, is it just gonna be a boring fucking bad guy who's like, oh, I'm gonna destroy the city by shooting a laser into the sky, or I'm gonna turn everybody into fucking lizards by shooting a laser into the sky. No, the bad guy is the most fleshed out, like, complex character of the whole movie. I like that he's like, no, he's a thief. He's so, like, his motivation is so smart. Marvel's getting so much smarter with aspects of their movies, sometimes whole movies like Civil War, but a lot of times it's just like aspects of the different movies they're getting really smart with. The whole character of Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, is a very well, like, composed character. His whole, hates the Avengers for this, or hates Tony Stark at least, and he's like, oh, well, I'm just doing what he did, why is it so bad when I do it? Like, his whole, like, warped philosophy on protecting his family by doing this bad shit. And the movie also works in Tony Stark in a way that doesn't feel super invasive into the movie. He just kind of fits. I like that the Marvel's at that point where, and I don't think that'll be in, like, every movie, but I'd like that they're at a point where they can just have Robert Downey Jr. in a Spider-Man movie and be like, it's no thing. It's no thing. Like, he has one scene where he, like, helps put the shit back together, but, like, other than that, you don't really see Iron Man that much. Iron Man, the suit, that's what it's called. It's the Iron Man suit. Tom Holland's fine as Spider-Man too. Like, he's good, despite how, for the most part, I do like him. There's never a moment, like, especially how Tobey Maguire can pull it off. And I know I said I was trying not to compare him, but I think it's important to the character of Spider-Man. So it's Tobey Maguire and even Andrew Garfield too in spots. With Tom Holland, it doesn't really feel like, I'm not saying he seems like a selfish superhero or anything like that, but it never, there's never really a moment where he's like, I need to save people because that's the right thing to do because I'm a nice person. Like, it all feels so erratic and, like, crazy with him that it really feels like he's just doing, like, a reflex, like, oh fuck, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, oh, I'm a silly kid, oh, I gotta save these people. Like, there's no like heart behind his heroic acts. It all seemed to just kind of, like, happen to him, and they tried to make it, like, silly. And, like, the old Spider-Man's like, that's what they are, that's what they do, and that kind of clicked with me this time, and that really bummed me out. That's at least that's how I perceive this one. People freaking out about, MJ's not a white redheaded girl. Oh, they've never switched races on a Marvel character before. That's never happened. I don't care about that. You shouldn't care about that. But what does bug me is that they were like, oh no, she's not MJ. Her name is Michelle. It's when they were doing all the promotional shit, or like before the thing and all the interviews, they're like, oh, she's not MJ. And people were like, oh, rumors that Zendaya is playing MJ, the new MCU's MJ, and people were like, oh, what? Oh, well, she's not white. Or, oh, that's cool, yeah, sweet. And then Marvel was like, no, actually, her character's name is Michelle, and MJ's name is Mary Jane. And then, at the end of the movie, she's like, oh, my friends call me MJ. Fuck you. It's not her goddamn name. I would almost fucking bump this movie up an entire grade because of that goddamn car scene. One of the best sequences in, like, the entire MCU. And it's like the back and forth between Tom Holland and Michael Keaton, but like especially Michael Keaton. God damn, does he fucking sell that? The turn, the realization, and then like the change in his demeanor when he like knows, and oh my god, it's so good. I think that's probably good. I probably said all I need to say. I do need to, cut these off. Michael Keaton Homecoming is good. Spider-Man Homecoming is good. List. I'm gonna put asterisk with Guardians. It was subject to change. Just to see if that shine does wear off a little bit. Next week is the wrap-up week for the rewatch. It's Thor Ragnarok. So, yeah, that's cool. Which also means that my movie, behind the scenes of Marvel's The Avengers Trinity War, is also coming out next week alongside this video. One more pre-video to plug if you missed the trailer and the original short film. I'll keep those in the links. I'll link those below too, but I'll post up here the Comic-Con video we did that we released shortly before the original premiere of the movie. It's sort of like a side story that goes along with the movie. It's not really like important. It's just kind of like a preview. It's like a preview short film to go alongside it that we actually shot at the Comic-Con nearby. Yeah, I'd never really done anything like that, so it was a little different, but it turned out really well too. And yeah, so that'll be the one this week. That's it. What are you gonna do next week? You guys gonna come back next week? You guys wanna come back next week? Garth, you'll be back next week, right? You'll be back next week, right?